In numerology, we experience 9-year periods of time, both collectively and personally, known as collective year cycles and personal year cycles. In part 1, we covered 2025's collective year number 9, that is all about conclusions, completion, and significant drastic changes. The collective year cycle and number affects the collective energy and experience worldwide, like when there's a global pandemic, for example. In this part 2, we'll be covering each personal year number within a 9-year cycle. To calculate your personal year number, add together the individual numbers of your birth month and day with the current year until you come to a single digit. Using my own as an example, my birth month is December and my birth day is the 6th, and the current year is 2025. So this looks like 1 plus 2 plus 6 plus 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5 equals 18, and then 1 plus 8 equals 9. In this example, the personal year number is 9, which just so happens to align with the collective year number. Now, there are two schools of thought when it comes to personal year numbers. One school believes your number spans from birthday to birthday, while the other believes it spans from January 1st through December 31st. It's totally up to you to decide which school of thought feels right for you. Just like how the collective 9-year cycle has its own themes, each personal 9-year cycle has an overall theme, as well as each year within that cycle has its own individual theme. An overall collective theme can look like an era of misinformation and conspiracy theories being projected as truths, leading to national and even international division and catastrophe after catastrophe, due to the cultivation and inciting of fear, hate, and mistrust of the, quote, other, and those perceived to be the elite in power. Coughs in 2017 to 2025 collective 9-year cycle. A personal theme can look very similar to the collective theme, just on a smaller scale, or it can look entirely different as it's personal to you. You might pick up on the collective energy and have awareness of what's going on in the world, but personally, your experience isn't directly impacted by those things in a significant way. Your personal 9-year cycle theme might look like personal healing and growth, or going through a really tough period before a new 9-year cycle of healing and growth, or hustling to build your career, or creating a family, or getting to know yourself and what you want out of life, or just having fun. When I speak about themes, I'm speaking in terms of energy. Whether you consciously notice it or not, there's a very real energetic transition that happens for each of us from year to year. A personal year number theme looks like a year of new beginnings, or a year of conclusions, for example. However, if we aren't aware of our personal year number's theme, we may not align with it, causing us to inadvertently push against it, or simply let opportunities pass us by. When we know our personal year number and its theme, we can consciously choose to align with its energy, which can create more success throughout the year, and or help us to be able to extract deeper meaning about why things are happening and how to make sense of it. Before we move on to each personal year number, I want to mention that PYNs are different from your life path number. Although your PYN may be the same as your life path number for that year, they serve different purposes. A PYN has a specific energy that affects the theme of that specific year and your experience throughout it, including opportunities and obstacles. A LPN is key to understanding your life's purpose and primary mission, innate gifts, talents and tendencies, and the obstacles you'll face. A LPN outlines what you're learning, mastering, and evolving into throughout this life. Should your PYN match your LPN, that year's theme, the ups and downs, and the obstacles and the victories will be intensified twofold. Alright, with all of that out of the way, let's get into the personal year numbers. As the start of a new 9-year cycle, this is a time for new beginnings and planting metaphorical seeds for what you want to see grow and blossom over the next 9 years. This is the perfect opportunity to get clear and begin goal setting and manifesting your desires. This is a new chapter, and you get to write it. Although this is the year to begin with as much of a clean slate as possible, it isn't uncommon to have some unfinished business bleed over from your most recent 9-year cycle. Personal year 9 is the year for conclusions, but there are other factors that come into play that don't necessarily follow numerology's rules or our own personal plans to take advantage of the opportunity to wrap things up before our personal year 1 comes back around. Having unfinished business from a previous cycle doesn't mean you're screwed going into a new one, unless you choose to let it. While you may need to focus some of your energy, time, and mental and emotional, and maybe even physical activity towards wrapping up those loose ends, what's important for a PY1 is that you also focus your energy, time, mental, emotional, physical activity towards the intention of starting anew. It's important that you not get so tied up in those loose ends that you forget to plan for your future without those ties holding you back. What do you want your life to look like moving forward? The intention of starting anew is an important first step, but it isn't enough on its own. If you really want to take advantage of the opportunity for a new beginning that a PY1 provides you, you also have to put energy towards it and take the necessary actions to create it. For those in the know, you'll recognize this as Manifesting 101. Get clear on what you want, set the intention of what you want to create, focus your energy on it. With consistency, dedication, and determination, take necessary actions towards attaining your goal / manifesting your desires into reality. These 4 steps are intended to be taken throughout the 9-year cycle. A PY1 is about getting clear on who you are and what you want, and getting your ducks in a row. Then from there, taking consistent action throughout the rest of the 9-year cycle. Personal year 2 is about new partnerships, networking, forming connections, reestablishing your connection with your intimate partner, and questioning who you allow into your life. Who fills your cup and who depletes it? A PY2 gives you the opportunity to seek out and cultivate harmonious partnerships and relationships. This is the perfect time to learn how to be responsive rather than reactive in times of discord with others, or when receiving constructive criticism. This is also the time to set strong, healthy boundaries with family, friends, and colleagues. A PY2 also gives you opportunities to allow yourself to lower slash take down walls you may have built to protect yourself, but are now getting in your way to connecting with others. This is a time to allow yourself to open up and be vulnerable with people that are safe and supportive. A PY2 also gives you the perfect opportunity to find and cultivate harmony within yourself. You may have started the journey of discovering who you are and what you want in a PY1, and now in a PY2, you have opportunities to go even deeper emotionally. A PY2, frustratingly for most, is a year for learning patience and acceptance of what is. Nobody likes it when I tell them it's divine timing, trust the universe, surrender. But that's exactly what you can expect with a PY2. This is not a time for forcing or pushing. This is a time for watching, waiting, and lovingly tending to the, quote, seeds that you planted the previous year. You might think of it this way. You can't force a seed to grow into a plant overnight. Forcing or pushing is like drowning your seed in hopes that it'll grow faster. You have to tend to it with just the right amount of care, or you'll kill it before it even has the opportunity to grow into anything. It takes patience and acceptance of what is, and surrendering to allow your seed to grow into a healthy, happy plant. A personal year 3 gives you the opportunity to speak your truth and express yourself creatively. This is a year about finding what brings you joy and happiness, and doing more of those things. This is also the perfect time to celebrate the progress you've made personally and in regards to your, quote, seeds from the past 2 years. A PY3 gives you the opportunity to discover, step into, and express your authentic self. This is the perfect time to do personal development work by starting to go to counseling or therapy or through self-help. Start a journaling practice or contemplative meditation. Who are you without everyone else's influence put upon you? What do you believe? What do you value? Discover the difference between what is just childhood programming and what is authentically you. This is the perfect time to do inner child healing and shadow work. Tap into childlike play, wonder, and curiosity. DGAF about what other people think. Be unapologetically you out loud. A PY3 also gives you the opportunity to identify and express your wants and needs through healthy communication. If you're an artist or creative, a PY3 gives you the opportunity to devote yourself to creative projects. Is there a book you've been wanting to write? Have you been wanting to create an online course? Have you been thinking about starting a brand and becoming an influencer or content creator? Do you have an idea for a podcast? This is a year to do the creative work. A PY3 is the perfect time to get started and really go all in. If you're a performative artist, such as an actor or a musician, this is the year to take yourself and your talents seriously. You'll be supported by the energy of your PY3 and given opportunities for forward momentum. Whereas a personal year 3 is perfect for dedicating yourself to the creative process, a personal year 4 is the perfect time for implementation. A PY4 gives you the opportunity to market and publish that book, to launch that brand, online course, or podcast, or go on tour. A PY4 is a time for getting serious and putting in the hard work. This is also a time to check in and maybe reevaluate what goals you want to focus on and what ones need to fall away in order to manifest your long-range vision into reality. A PY4 gives you the opportunity to create the foundations for your long-term goals. This is the time for methodical building at a slow and steady pace. You may find that you want to sprint towards the finish line at any cost to attain your goal, but a PY4 is a marathon, not a sprint. Trying to force or push will only lead to frustration and burnout. Put in the necessary effort, but also pace yourself. This is also not the time for procrastination or slacking off either, or the oh-so-fun cycle of stopping for a while, then freak-out stress-induced racing to make up the time, then burning out, getting depressed, giving up, then starting the cycle all over again. A PY4 is a time to prioritize, organize, and systematize for efficiency and effectiveness. A personal year 5 is a time for change, new opportunities, and new direction. A PY5 gives you the opportunity to be curious, try new things, be adventurous, and travel. A PY5 can be a time of ups and downs and is not a year to make long-term commitments. A PY5 gives you the opportunity to cultivate flexibility and adaptability, along with focus and self-discipline, during this whirlwind of a year's energy. A PY5 gives you opportunities to face your fears and push outside your comfort zone. This is a year of uncertainty, which can cause you to feel anything from discomfort to downright terrified, depending on your comfort level with unpredictable change. It's human nature to crave a sense of control in our life. It makes us feel safe and secure. So a PY5 might cause some drama for you if you're holding too tightly to your false sense of control. On the flip side, if you're feeling stuck or stagnant, a PY5 gives you the perfect opportunity to shake things up. This is the time for a redirect and making major changes in your life. A PY5 is a year to unclench and say yes to life. A personal year 6 is a time for evaluating your relationships and looking deeper at yourself and how you engage in relationships, specifically in your personal/home life and close circle. PY6 gives you the opportunity to create more peace, understanding, and connection within your personal relationships. A PY6 is about focusing on your responsibilities, specifically in your home life, and being actively involved in building intimacy in your relationships. Whereas your PY5 was not the right time for long-term commitments, your PY6 is the perfect time to get engaged or married, if that's something you've been wanting to do. A PY6 also gives you the opportunity to take off any blinders you may have had on about specific relationships. This is the time to have those hard conversations and commit to changing unhealthy/harmful dynamics, or coming to terms with a relationship that simply is not working out. This can be a time to commit or recommit to and grow your intimate relationship with your partner, or to take a step back and reevaluate whether or not continuing in the relationship is in both your best interest. This same energy can show up in your other close relationships as well, such as with friends and relatives. A PY6 also gives you the opportunity to look at yourself and gain clarity about how you engage with those in your close circle. Is there a pattern of comfortability, equality, intimacy, support, and general good times in your close relationships? Or a pattern of resentment, overcommitment, judgment, exasperation, pointing the finger at those around you, and general sense of shittiness? If the latter is your experience with most or all of the people you interact with in your personal life, a PY6 gives you the opportunity to see who the common denominator is causing drama in your close relationships. For example, is everyone around you really just lazy, messy, thoughtless, and inconsiderate? Or do you have controlling and perfectionistic tendencies and or unrealistic expectations of yourself and others? Because a PY6 is largely about family responsibilities, you may see an uptick in that area in the form of being a part of a wedding party, attending a graduation, having a baby, or pitching in after the birth of a baby, or taking care of a loved one during a health crisis. A PY6 is also the perfect time to focus on home and landscape projects and renovations and beautifying your space, or moving house altogether. A personal year 7 is a time for deep inner work, self-awareness, thinking, learning, researching, planning, and processing. Because a PY7 is a very solitary time, you may find that you naturally want to retreat from society or socializing, or that you happen to have a lot of alone time this year. Or you may just want to take advantage of the opportunity to do so, knowing it's a PY7. Even if you find that your day-to-day schedule doesn't allow for a lot of alone time, or the ability to withdraw as much as you might crave to, a PY7 is still the perfect time to start a journaling practice, or daily contemplative meditation, and or going to counseling or therapy. This is also a time for reading books, taking courses, and or engaging in workshops and seminars specifically geared towards doing deep inner work and expanding your awareness. A PY7 gives you the opportunity to explore the depths of your soul's calling and set your mental and spiritual house in order so that you can come into alignment with your expanded and powerful sense of purpose. A PY7 is not the year to focus on pushing your career into overdrive or financial growth. However, it does give you the opportunity to do the prep work for that next year. A PY7 is a time for gathering data and collecting knowledge. This can be in terms of personal development and or spiritual practice, but it's also in terms of learning or improving a skill, going to school, or taking a class or course on a topic that is not directly related to personal or spiritual development, but that does directly align with your soul's calling. A PY7 is a year for processing, planning, and preparing rather than taking action. It gives you the opportunity to slow down and get to know yourself in a profound and life-changing way, as well as make internal shifts and do some healing. A personal year 8 is all about getting your financial house in order and taking action in your career. A PY8 is a time for effort, organization, consistency, time management, and follow through. A PY8 gives you the opportunity to focus your energy and actions on creating the financial abundance you want. A PY8 is not a time to be a shrinking violet. It's a time to stand in your power and be assertive in a heart-centered way. AKA, speak up for yourself, but don't be a dick. A PY8 gives you the opportunity to ask yourself, what does financial prosperity mean to me? What does it look like? What does it feel like? What actions will I need to take to manifest and maintain it? Am I willing and able to accept the opportunities presented to me? A PY8 gives you the opportunity to get crystal clear and laser focused on what you want and how you want to get there. This is not a time to allow procrastination, imposter syndrome, or fear to get in the way of your career and financial goals. This is the time to take on a business-like attitude and take yourself and your desires seriously. This is get up and go time. A PY8 gives you the opportunity to tap into your resilience, tenacity, and endurance. But be aware of burnout. Don't push yourself so hard that you end up exhausted, stressed to the max, and sick. Take breaks when you need them, and pace yourself. You won't be able to manifest/maintain the wealth and career you desire if you run yourself into the ground. Remember to be kind to yourself and make time for self-care. A PY8 also gives you the opportunity to expand and branch out. Already feeling comfy financially? Are you already where you want to be in your career and/or gaining recognition as an authority in your field? Do you already have the power, influence, and connections you desire? A PY8 gives you the perfect opportunity to not only expand on these things, but also to give generously to others. This can look like hiring employees, giving current employees a promotion/raise, or donating to charities and others in need. A personal year 9 is all about closure, integration, and completion. It is the closing of a chapter and the end of a cycle, pattern, habit, or relationship. A PY9 is a time of transition, putting the final touches on something, and wrapping things up. A PY9 can also be a time of major upheaval and transformation. At the beginning of a PY9, or even throughout, it can feel like a scary, painful time as you look around and see only chaos and uncertainty. You may find yourself in victim mentality if you're resistant to the changes that come with a PY9. All great changes are preceded by chaos. A PY9 gives you the opportunity to let go of something that is no longer serving you. It's a time to let go of the old to make room for the new. It also gives you the opportunity for inner transformation and awakening. A PY9 can be scary AF, but it can also be a welcome blessing when it comes to major life and inner world changes. There are circumstances that you may be happy are coming to an end, such as a toxic relationship, or a job that you hated, or even something bittersweet, like a graduation. For some, there can be a grieving period when moving from one phase of life to another, even when it's a welcome new phase, such as getting married, having a baby, starting a job, or moving house, especially if it's a new town or country. It can be sad to say goodbye to the old, even when you're happy to say hello to the new. A PY9 can be a real emotional roller coaster. A PY9 is also a time to revel in the successful culmination of all that you've been working towards for the past 8 years. The metaphorical seeds you planted in your PY1 are in the wrapping up stage and are now coming into full bloom. It's time to enjoy the fruits of your labor as you transition from this 9-year cycle into the next. A PY9 transitions into the next 9-year cycle, restarting the sequence at another PY1, making it the very definition of when one chapter ends, a new one begins.